In ancient Babylon, dentists believed toothaches were caused by invisible worms eating your teeth from inside. Their solution? Burn the worms out with red-hot bronze wires inserted directly into the tooth, and compared to other ancient dental procedures, having molten metal in your mouth was actually one of the gentler treatments. Today, we're drilling into the excruciating truth about ancient dentistry, practices so brutal they make medieval torture look like mercy, before anesthesia, before sterilization, before even basic understanding of infection. For thousands of years, dental problems meant choosing between unbearable pain or treatments that often killed you faster than the toothache. From Egyptian tooth extractions using primitive hammers to Roman dental surgeries performed by untrained barbers, ancient dentistry wasn't healthcare. It was voluntary torture that you paid for. But before we sink our teeth into these agonizing ancient practices, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because if you think today's dental horrors will make you squirm, wait until next week when we reveal ancient surgical procedures that make tooth extraction look like a spa treatment. Trust me, you'll never complain about a root canal again. Now, let's start with the most common dental procedure in history, one that killed more patients than it cured. Imagine a toothache so severe you can't eat, sleep, or think. In ancient times, you had one option, the tooth puller, not a dentist. Those didn't exist. Instead, you went to the local barber, blacksmith, or traveling healer who owned a pair of pliers. The tools were nightmare fuel. The dental pelican, named because it looked like the bird's beak, was a metal claw that hooked around teeth. The operator would wrench it sideways, often shattering the tooth and jaw. The dental key worked like a corkscrew, twisting teeth out by the root, frequently breaking them in pieces. But the tools weren't the worst part. It was the complete lack of medical knowledge. Greek physician Archigenes wrote detailed instructions for tooth extraction in 100 CE. His method? Have 4 strong men hold the patient down. Use bronze forceps heated in fire to cauterize the infection. If the tooth breaks, which it usually did, dig out the fragments with a sharp bronze probe. If the patient passes out from pain, that's the body's natural healing response. The death rate from simple extractions was staggering. Without understanding of bacteria, instruments were never cleaned. The same pliers used on a diseased tooth went straight into the next patient's mouth. Infections spread jaw to brain in days. Archaeological digs reveal the true horror. Skulls from ancient Rome show evidence of massive jaw infections following extractions. Bone analysis indicates many victims died from sepsis within a week of dental work. Others survived, but with permanently destroyed jaws, unable to eat solid food again. One particularly gruesome find from Pompeii, a skeleton with extraction tools still embedded in the jaw, suggesting the patient died during the procedure. The positioning indicates they were trying to escape when volcanic ash preserved the scene forever. But here's the truly insane part. People paid premium prices for this torture. Roman records show tooth pullers charging the equivalent of a month's wages for extractions. Patients knew the risks. Death was common enough that many wrote wills before dental procedures. Yet desperation drove them to the chair anyway. The most disturbing aspect? Some practitioners specialized in speed over safety. They advertised extracting teeth in seconds, using such violent force that they often pulled out chunks of jawbone. These speed extractors killed even more patients, but remained popular because the torture was shorter. If you think having your teeth ripped out by unwashed pliers was bad, wait until you hear what they did to try saving teeth. The Indus Valley civilization pioneered something that sounds almost modern: dental drilling. Except their version involved bow drills, the same tool used to start fires, grinding into teeth at agonizing speeds while the patient remained fully conscious. In 2006, archaeologists in Pakistan uncovered 9,000-year-old skulls with precisely drilled tooth holes. These weren't accidental. They show clear evidence of deliberate dental work. The drill bits were made from flint, creating a grinding sensation that survivors described as demons chewing from inside. The process was torture incarnate. The bow drill required constant pressure and took up to an hour to penetrate one tooth. No water cooling meant the friction generated heat, essentially cooking the tooth nerve. Patients were held down by multiple people as they writhed in agony. The Egyptians improved the technique by 3000 BCE. They used copper drills that cut faster but conducted heat even better. Egyptian medical papyri describe the procedure. When the demon of decay enters the tooth, drill until you reach the demon's nest. Fill with molten gold to trap the demon inside. That's right. After drilling into the nerve, they poured liquid metal into the cavity. The temperature of molten gold is 1064 degrees Celsius. The instantaneous nerve death probably felt like mercy compared to the drilling. Romans took it further. Physician Cornelius Celsus described using vinegar-soaked drills to dissolve the corruption. The acid ate through tooth enamel while the drilling continued, creating a double agony. He recommended opium for pain, but only for wealthy patients. The poor got a leather strap to bite. One Roman case study describes a senator who underwent drilling for an abscess. The procedure took 3 hours. He survived the drilling but died 4 days later from infection. His last words, recorded by Pliny: "The cure has proven worse than the disease." The success rate for ancient drilling was essentially 0. If infection didn't kill you, the trauma often did. Many patients died from shock during the procedure. Others survived, but with such severe nerve damage they couldn't close their mouths properly again. By the Middle Ages, dental drills had evolved to include serrated edges for better penetration. A medieval text cheerfully notes, these could drill through a tooth in merely 45 minutes of continuous agony. Progress. The most horrifying detail? Some practitioners believed the screaming helped. They thought pain screams expelled evil humors from the body. The louder you screamed, the better the treatment was working. They actually encouraged maximum agony as therapeutic, but even drilling into living nerves wasn't the most sadistic ancient dental practice. First he ate the blood, then he ate the bone. Finally he laughed as he ate the marrow. This Babylonian poem from 1800 BCE describes the toothworm, the most persistent and destructive myth in dental history. For over 4,000 years, civilizations worldwide believed toothaches came from worms living inside teeth. The treatments designed to kill these imaginary worms inflicted real torture that defies comprehension. The logic seemed sound to ancient minds. Teeth developed holes. Worms made holes. Therefore, worms caused cavities. The solution? Kill the worms by any means necessary. Egyptian dentists fumigated teeth with smoke from burning donkey hooves mixed with myrrh. Patients would hold their mouths open over smoldering braziers, inhaling toxic fumes until they vomited or passed out. The dead worms they saw were actually their own burnt tissue. Roman physician Scribonius Largus took a different approach. Poison. He prescribed a mixture of arsenic and lead applied directly to the tooth. The poison would kill the worms while simultaneously destroying the patient's nervous system. Many died from lead poisoning before the toothache could kill them. But the most horrific treatment came from medieval Arabia. Physician Al-Razi described using red-hot iron needles to burn out worm nests. The needle was inserted into the cavity and twisted while glowing hot. The smell of burning nerve tissue was considered proof the worms were dying. Chinese dentists of the Han Dynasty had their own nightmare cure. They believed toothworms feared loud noises, so they would detonate small gunpowder charges near the affected tooth. The explosions often shattered teeth and occasionally blew off parts of the patient's face. Japanese practitioners took a chemical approach, pouring concentrated acid into cavities to dissolve the worms. The acid ate through healthy tissue, causing chemical burns throughout the mouth. Survivors often lost the ability to taste or swallow properly. Perhaps most disturbing were the worm viewing ceremonies. Charlatan dentists would palm small worms, then pretend to extract them from patients' mouths as proof of successful treatment. Desperate patients paid fortunes to have non-existent worms removed, while their real dental problems went untreated. The psychological torture was immense. Patients genuinely believed living creatures were eating them from inside. Some reported feeling the worms moving, hearing them chewing at night. The power of suggestion combined with real pain created a waking nightmare that drove many to madness. One French account from 1200 CE describes a woman so convinced of toothworms that she attempted to dig them out herself with a kitchen knife. She survived, but destroyed most of her mouth in the process. The local barber surgeon declared it proof of worm madness. Speaking of madness, let's examine what passed for dental hygiene in the ancient world. Modern toothpaste seems less appealing when you learn what ancient civilizations used to clean their teeth. Spoiler alert, it was worse than not brushing at all. Romans were obsessed with white teeth. Their solution? Human urine. Specifically, Portuguese urine, which was considered the highest quality due to their wine-drinking diet. Upper-class Romans gargled with imported urine every morning, believing the ammonia whitened teeth. This created an entire industry. Urine merchants collected from public toilets, aged it in special vessels, then sold it at premium prices. The most expensive came from young, healthy athletes. Emperor Nero reportedly paid a fortune for gladiator urine, believing it gave him strength of tooth. But urine was practically minty fresh compared to other ancient toothpastes. Egyptians created the first known toothpaste recipe in 4000 BCE. The ingredients: oxhoof ash, burnt eggshells, pumice, and myrrh. The mixture was so abrasive it stripped tooth enamel completely. Pharaohs' teeth weren't white because they were clean, they were white because all the protective coating had been scrubbed away. Greeks preferred crushed bones and oyster shells mixed with charcoal. The bone fragments created microcuts in gums, leading to constant infections. Roman physician Messalina added crushed mouse brains to her tooth powder recipe, believing the cleverness of mice would prevent cavities. Medieval Europeans took it to new extremes. They used dragon's blood, actually tree resin, mixed with wine and alum. The mixture turned mouths blood red and caused severe chemical burns. Users thought the burning sensation meant it was working. In ancient China, tooth cleaning involved chewing on aromatic twigs soaked in sulfur. The sulfur supposedly killed mouth demons, but actually caused severe tissue damage. Chronic users developed a condition where their gums turned black and receded, exposing tooth roots. The tools were equally horrific. Before toothbrushes, people used everything from porcupine quills to bronze scrapers. Romans used silver toothpicks that doubled as status symbols and infection spreaders. One archaeological find revealed a golden toothpick still containing traces of multiple users' blood, a disease transmission nightmare. The wealthy had it worst. They could afford daily cleaning with the most exotic ingredients. Cleopatra reportedly used a paste made from frankincense and crushed pearls that was so acidic it dissolved tooth enamel on contact. Her legendary beauty came at the cost of probably excruciating dental pain. But nothing compared to the ultimate ancient dental nightmare, cosmetic dentistry. The Etruscans invented cosmetic dentistry around 700 BCE, and their innovations were as impressive as they were horrifying. They created the first dental bridges by pulling out healthy teeth to make room for decorative gold ones. The process was nightmare fuel. First, perfectly good teeth were extracted to create space. Then gold bands were wrapped around remaining teeth, often so tightly they cut off blood flow. The decorative teeth, usually from animals or deceased humans, were riveted into place with gold wire that gradually sawed through the anchor teeth. These weren't functional. Wearers couldn't eat solid food. The constant pressure caused remaining teeth to loosen and fall out. Within years, most patients had lost all their natural teeth. But for a brief moment, they had a golden smile that showed their wealth. The Maya took body modification to extremes that make modern procedures look tame. They drilled holes in front teeth to insert precious stones, jade, turquoise, obsidian. The drilling alone killed many from infection. Survivors faced a lifetime of exposed nerves as the stones gradually worked loose, leaving gaping holes. In feudal Japan, black teeth were considered beautiful. The practice of ohaguro involved daily application of iron filings dissolved in tea and sake. The solution permanently stained teeth black, while the iron caused severe gum disease. Users suffered constant metallic taste, inability to eat certain foods, and breath so foul that special perfumes were created to mask it. Romans filed their teeth into points to appear more fierce. The filing exposed inner tooth layers, causing hypersensitivity so severe that breathing cold air triggered agony. Many developed abscesses from exposed nerves and died from the resulting infections. Vikings carved horizontal grooves into their teeth and filled them with red pigment. The carving process involved hours of scraping with iron tools, no pain relief, and frequent mistakes that split teeth in half. The pigment, often made from mercury-based compounds, slowly poisoned them. Various African cultures practiced selective tooth removal for beauty or tribal identification. Lower front teeth were knocked out with rocks, often taking chunks of jaw with them. The gaps made eating difficult and speaking painful. Infection rates were astronomical. The social pressure for these modifications was immense. Young Mayan nobles who refused tooth drilling were social outcasts. Japanese women without black teeth couldn't marry. Romans with unmodified teeth were seen as barbarians. One Etruscan noblewoman's remains tell a tragic story. Her skull shows she had all healthy teeth removed at age 20 for a full gold dental set. By 25, the anchoring system had failed. She died at 28 from malnutrition, unable to eat properly for years. Her golden smile was found scattered around her skeleton, a monument to vanity's price. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of ancient dentistry was what happened when all else failed. Sometimes, ancient dental problems grew so severe that the treatments weren't trying to cure. They were trying to end suffering by any means necessary. The Roman physician Aulus Cornelius Celsus documented cases of tooth madness, infections that spread to the brain, causing patients to bash their heads against walls seeking relief. His prescribed treatment, drilling holes in the skull to release the tooth demons that had migrated upward. Most patients welcomed potential death over continued agony. When infections spread through entire communities, mass extraction events were held. Hundreds of sufferers would gather, and teams of tooth pullers would work in assembly-lined fashion. No cleaning between patients, no rest for the traumatized. Archaeological evidence from one Roman military camp shows over 300 extracted teeth in a single pit, along with several human remains, those who didn't survive the treatment day. Ancient texts describe patients so desperate they attempted self-surgery. Using household tools, mirrors, and alcohol for courage, they would try extracting their own teeth. The results were catastrophic. Most bled to death. Others shattered their jaws or drove infection deeper into bone. One Greek account tells of a philosopher who tied his infected tooth to his horse and had it gallop away. He survived, but lost half his lower jaw in the process. He spent his remaining years teaching about the wisdom of enduring pain over seeking cure. Those who survived ancient dentistry often wished they hadn't. Missing teeth meant social death in many cultures. Speech impediments from dental damage marked you as cursed. The inability to eat properly led to slow starvation. Many survivors became hermits, hiding their mangled mouths from society. Next time you complain about a dental appointment, remember, you live in the first era of human history where dentists actually fix teeth instead of just ripping them out, where cleaning your teeth doesn't involve urine or crushed bones, where a cavity doesn't mean choosing between agony and death. For thousands of years, dental problems meant torture, professional tooth pullers who killed more than they cured, drills that cooked nerves while conscious, imaginary worms treated with real poison, cosmetic procedures that guaranteed suffering, hygiene routines that destroyed what they meant to protect. Conservative estimates suggest ancient dental practices killed millions, not from the original problems, from the cures. Every extracted tooth risked fatal infection. Every drilling invited death. Every cosmetic modification shortened life. Dentistry wasn't healthcare. It was voluntary torture that people paid for in desperation. The ancient world's greatest gift to modern humanity might not be philosophy, democracy, or architecture. It might be showing us exactly how not to practice dentistry. Every Novocaine shot, every sterile instrument, every pain-free procedure exists because we learned from millennia of dental horror. So yes, nobody likes going to the dentist, but at least modern dentists aren't trying to burn imaginary worms out of your teeth with red-hot wires while 4 men hold you down. Progress never felt so good. Think ancient dentistry was terrifying. Next week, we're revealing ancient surgical procedures that make tooth extraction look gentle. From eye surgery using thorns to brain operations with seashells, subscribe now to discover why ancient hospitals had higher death rates than battlefields. Remember, a little dental anxiety is nothing compared to dental ancient history. Controls Do Chat, Opus 4.